Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. As always, it's a pleasure to have you in our company today. Thank you so much for tuning in and making GPS a part of your afternoon. We, of course, are streaming live on Facebook, on the official Global 99.5 FM Facebook page, as well as the official Michelle Malcolm Facebook page. And you can call in at 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, and the WhatsApp line for text messages only, 801-0271, 801-0271. You can also catch us on Cable Bahamas, channel 974. And, of course, we are on YouTube as well. All right, so everybody knows that the Caricom Heads of Government meeting is happening here in the Bahamas. We had lots of drama surrounding it yesterday. It officially opened last evening. And today's sessions have begun in terms of government leaders and stakeholders, etc., gathering around the table to discuss matters that are of importance to the region. Illegal immigration is only but one of them. Another matter that is being discussed at length and receiving quite a bit of attention during this year's Caricom meeting is that of food security. Food security, the ability for us as a region to be able to feed ourselves, to make sure that we are able to survive without having to depend so heavily on external forces, how we as a region can work together, all of these things falling under the question of food security and food sovereignty. And this is a major issue, not just for us here in the Bahamas, but across the region. And so this is what we're going to be talking about today. And I have joining us today some young men who are doing amazing things in the agricultural sector here in the Bahamas. They are really taking it up a notch, approaching this from the traditional sense, but really embracing technology, AI, and other ways to improve the way that agriculture is done. I'm talking about none other than, and Lincoln, I'm going to go ahead and have you unmute your microphone, please. Well, I just did it. Lincoln Deal, who is the president and director of Eden Acres. He is a national award-winning entrepreneur who serves as the founder and president of Eden Farms Bahamas Limited, and he's also the founder of Open Water Tours and Jetlag Adventure Tours, the LD Group Limited, among other innovative ventures. His background is in economics and international business, and he has served on many policy boards and committees within the government of the Bahamas. In 2015, he launched 2 philanthropic organizations, #Lunch Bahamas, and Scholarship Link in 2015. Now I hope you guys can hear me okay. I'm seeing a notice on my end saying that there may be an unstable link. So I hope my Fi device holds up and keeps us on the air. But Lincoln, welcome to GPS.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Bahamas. Thank you, Michelle. It is an honor to be here. Looking forward to the show.
As am I. Also joining us on the show today is one Mr. Mark Daniels. And just to give you a bit of his background, he's the co-founder of Eden Farms and also serves as its head grower. Mark has a background in traditional and hydroponic farming and is formerly trained as a botanist. And he is a firm believer that we as a country should be able to produce our own food, and is excited about the future of farming in the Bahamas. Mark, I don't know if you're able to at this point unmute your microphone just to say hi. Mark is multitasking. So he's on the road while he's going to be talking to us today. So Mark, if you can go ahead and unmute just to say hi, if you're able to. Let me unmute you. I'll see if I can. I can't unmute you from my end, so you have to do that on your end. Okay, so while we wait for Mark to chime in, I want to welcome both of these young men to the show. And I'm so excited to have them here today because when people hear about agriculture and farming, traditionally speaking, the first thing that comes to mind is some old fella, a straw hat, maybe even a pipe, out in the fields, working hard in the hot sun, getting all burned up. And at the end of the day, hoping that they have a good harvest, and then hoping once they get that harvest that they can find a way to get it to market. But you guys have decided to go in a completely different and I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you were the ones who introduced the concept of container farming to the Bahamas. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So tell us a little, before we get into the new venture that you guys are doing, tell us a little bit about the whole concept behind what it is your business model is based on.
Again, thank you so much, Michelle, for having both Mark and I be on your show today. And it is truly an honor to, talk on this very important issue that, is not as, we haven't seen it at the forefront over the many years, but, I think post-COVID-19 and in particular, even the Ukrainian war, we're seeing now countries double down on their efforts toward food security. And so my team and I, at the height of the pandemic, we got together, Carlos Palacios and I and the Braun team, along with Mark Daniels and Gilbert Gassar. And we created this concept where we realized that food shortages were becoming a major issue. Eden Farms actually started in 2013 as a research project, trying to figure out some of the issues of agriculture in the Bahamas. And then, fast forward to 2018 and 2020, we really started to look into indoor containerized farming. And why did we go into that particular direction? Well, the reality is traditional farming has been hampered in the Bahamas due to our climate, due to our soil quality, due to a lot of insects and pests, among other unfortunate variables that farmers have to go through just to get to that harvest point. And so we try to merge technology with agriculture. And so we introduced a containerized farming model that was developed by Freight Farms. And they are the global pioneers and leaders of indoor hydroponic farming. And I'm going to break that down a bit more. So basically, we grow indoors.
Did we lose you, Lincoln?
Instead of growing in large fields, our one container equates to 5 acres of farmland. And if you're familiar with a 40-foot container, that's a 40-foot by 10-foot, 320 square feet. The next thing is emerging technology to avoid some of the pest issues. We don't use soil and some of those other things. We we grow in towers vertically. We use 97% less water than traditional agriculture, and we can grow 365 days out of the year, as well as we can grow crops that don't traditionally grow in the Bahamas. And again, the reason we got to this place is because we were trying to find solutions on how to improve our output as a country and fix some of our agricultural challenges.
And what has the response been like thus far?
I mean, the response has been really good. You know, I think starting Eden Farms, especially at the height of the pandemic, we realized that one, there's a consistent demand for produce. Right now, the Bahamas imports $1 billion worth of fruits and vegetables and other food-related products every year. And so wholesalers, retailers, restaurants, they're all looking for produce. One of the issues that we've found is that the produce that they're currently importing is not good, right? So we're not getting the best of what we're importing. So yes, we're
Because
majority.
it has to travel and all that kind of stuff. By the time it gets here, it's already started to deteriorate,
Correct.
etc.
Correct. So most of our produce come from California. It travels thousands of miles to the port in Miami. It then ships from tropical shipping on my Betty K to our customs port, and then from there to Cisco or some other places. And by the time it reaches your table, that supply chain is about 25 to 30 days long, which
Wow.
means that 40% of the nutritional value of that particular produce, let's say lettuce, has diminished. And so not only are we not getting the best, we're not getting the most nutritious. And, you know, argumentatively, there's some people who say that because of the amount of pesticides and herbicides used in those large farms abroad, it can cause to other health issues in the region.
Yeah, I've been, and we're going to get more into the discussions that are happening at Caricom in a minute. But I have been doing some research on the Freight Farms technology in preparation for today. And one of the things that I found fascinating is that they have mastered this to a science, to the degree that they understand like blue light or purple light or red
Yes.
light, a root to grow, or so you could actually program the type of light that you want to expose your plants to, for how long you want them to expose it to, so that you can determine, am I growing a root vegetable? I need this type of light for that. It's really fascinating. Really fascinating.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I mean, the technology out there is so disruptive. As mentioned, everything in that box, that 320 square feet, is maximized to capacity, from its lighting to the panels to the grow columns to just the precision and detail in agriculture. I think that is what is going to be the turning corner for food security, not just in the Bahamas, but globally. And if you look globally, you're seeing that nations are moving into this direction where precision agriculture is what they're looking to use in their production channels.
So because the products that you are producing are local, They're very, very fresh because they were grown locally. They don't have to travel all the miles to get to from the field to the fork. So I would assume that impacts not only the quality but the taste. Tell me what that is causing to happen, and a difference that we're seeing as a result.
Yeah, and so over the past 2 to 3 years, we've sat with chefs, restaurants, hotels, the cruise ships, all of them. And in particular, their head chefs, let's say the head chefs from one of the largest hotels in the country. They said that this quality is something that they have not gotten anywhere else. And the reason for that is because it's a farm to table experience. So when we harvest basil for that large hotel, they're getting that between Airport Industrial Park and either West or East Bay Street, which is, I mean, Nassau is only 21/7. And so they're getting that picked farm fresh and direct to their table, in comparison to some of the grains that they're bringing in that's either withered or the taste profile has changed because of the distance. We sat with a restaurant even over the bridge, and they said that there were times that they had to fly certain types of produce on a private jet.
Wow.
Just to get the quality that their clientele looks for. And so we're solving a lot of those issues. The taste is much fresher. We don't use any pesticides, any herbicides. It's all organic. But it tastes better. And Carlos Palacios, our co-founder, will always say, "You're only as good as what you put in you," right? And so the taste is better, the nutritional value is better. It's just overall better for the human body. And so you can taste the difference, you could smell the difference, you could feel the difference in the texture and in the quality of the food.
How does it impact the cost? Because one of the things that we hear all the time, particularly from inner city community residents, is that it's too expensive to eat well. It's too expensive to eat organic. So how does this impact the cost of the produce? And I'm asking that question because I'm heading in a particular direction, but let me just hear you answer that first.
No, I think that's a brilliant question. It's something that we've been very conscious of from day one. We've literally sat with a lot of the industry stakeholders, and we've looked at their costs, right? They're saying that, hey, this is what I buy from California, and this is a dollar amount that I paid. Can you compete with this? Can you beat this? And short answer is, in some product areas, we either beat it or we're comparable. But at least if we're comparable, you're getting something fresh and you're buying Bahamian. Generally, some of the high costs that we would see on our end in comparison to that of the U.S. would be the cost of electricity, which continues to skyrocket, right?
Yeah.
And so it gives farmers abroad sometimes a competitive advantage, and this is something that we've talked to the government about. However, when it comes to taste, quality, and consistency, I think we could go toe to toe with any importer, and we have identified specific crops that we compete head on with.
So your system is reliant on electricity. It's not solar charged.
So on our second phase, we're going to be fully solar. But right now we're on the grid. Notwithstanding, Michelle, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Notwithstanding the fact that the lighting in our systems are very energy efficient, and so while electricity may be one of our, one of the higher costs, it's not to the point where it's unbearable where we can't grow, but it just gives us the opportunity to continue to fix that using renewable energy.
Okay. All right. I want to play a clip. This one, like I said, this is one of the issues that is being discussed at length here during this Caricom meeting, because food sovereignty and food security aren't just an issue for the Bahamas, but unfortunately around the region. They're finding that people are going hungry or aren't getting sufficient healthy foods in their diet because of the challenge of food security and, or should I say, food insecurity, and food sovereignty. And so here now is a clip. This was from a press conference where, well, actually, this is an overview of what Caricom will be discussing as it relates to food security concerns.
Okay.
Food security is set to be one of the main points of discussion as leaders across the region begin to gather for the beginning of Caricom's 44th Heads of Government meeting. Caricom's Secretary General, Dr. Carla Barnett, outlined
That again.
food security is set to be one of the main points of discussion as leaders across the region begin to gather for the beginning of Caricom's 44th Heads of Government meeting. Caricom's Secretary General, Dr. Carla Barnett, outlines what that will look like.
The process that we're involved in Caricom, which is led by the President of Guyana, is in the nature of food and nutrition security. So it's about producing more food and making nutritious food available for everyone.
She adds that this is a process that involves ministers of agriculture from across the region.
They've been engaged.
Okay, we're having some kind of technical difficulty. I'm not sure why the video is not playing. I'll try it one more time. If not, we'll just continue with the conversation until we can figure this out.
Food security is set to be one of the main points of discussion as leaders across the region begin to gather for the beginning of Caricom's 44th
Jason, if
Heads
you're
of
at
Government
your
meeting.
controls, can you try
Caricom
playing it from
Secretary
your
General
end,
Dr.
please?
Carla
That's the very
Barnett
first
outlines
video.
what that will look
Caricom
like.
food security concerns.
The process that we're involved in Caricom, which is led by the President of Guyana, is in the nature of food and nutrition security. So it's
I'm not
about
sure if my
producing more
producer's at the
food and
desk.
making nutritious food available.
Food security is set to be one of the main points of discussion as leaders across
Jason,
the
if
region
you're there,
begin
can
to
you
gather
try playing
for
it
the
from your
beginning
end,
of
please?
Caricom's 44th Heads of Government meeting. Caricom Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett outlines what that will look like.
The process that we're involved in Caricom, which is led by the President of Guyana, is in the nature of food and nutrition security. So it's about producing more food and making nutritious food available for everyone.
She adds that this is a process that involves ministers of agriculture from across the region.
They've been engaged in a planning effort for the last two and a half years or so, in which they've been focusing on identifying specific products, specific technologies for improving production. They've identified commodities, and they've been focusing on generating projects that are available that need financing and mobilizing financing for those products in order to increase the availability of food across the region.
These discussions are taking place 2 months after the Inter-American Development Bank warned that the Bahamas faces an unenviable balancing act between food security and fiscal discipline. Last year, a United Nations World Food Program survey revealed that many Bahamians have been forced to eat less or skip meals due to the impact of global inflation in the Bahamas. A total of 734 Bahamians were surveyed in February and August last year, and it found that 204 people indicated they were worried they would not have enough food to eat. 140 said they went a day without eating, and 166 people said there were times in the past 30 days when they were hungry but did not eat. The survey also noted that 206 people indicated that they had to skip a meal, and 241 people said they ate less than they thought they should. But like the Bahamas, Dr. Barnett says many more countries face this reality.
We are all. That's one of the things that we learned. We did a study along with the World Food Program last year, which indicated that we are all food insecure. And this came to the forefront at the height of the COVID-19 crisis when the shipping issues, yes, the disruptions meant that many of our countries had issues ensuring that there was a constant supply of food.
So we heard in that report why we need to be looking at innovative ways to shore up this whole concept of food sovereignty and food security, because as we all experienced during COVID, you get one disruption to the supply chain, and now you've got yourself a huge problem. And so I want you to unmute your microphone, Lincoln, because you are muted. How is what you are doing? How are you guys looking to a way to incorporate that on a national perspective to try to offset some of the challenges we are facing when it comes to food security? Or is this strictly just an entrepreneurial thing for you?
Thank you, and thank you for that clip. That's something that we've also reviewed, and we've talked about it a lot in the most recent weeks. Just the amount of persons that unfortunately go to bed hungry, have to skip a meal, forced to do that due to inflation and other factors. So Eden Farms' mission is, it's not just food security in the Bahamas, but we actually have a regional mission in our second phase, which is Eden Acres, right? We find that food security is national security, and as we develop this our facility on Gladstone Road, you would see that our focus is trying to target ways in which we can get local produce direct to consumers, direct to our Bahamians, at a reasonable rate. That's more fresher, that is more hyper-local, but we also look to replicate this model in other Caribbean islands. And we've actually had discussions on the Caricom level as early as 3 hours ago on this issue of food security and what our goal and vision is for the region as it pertains to this. And so conversations are definitely happening, actively happening actually. And we hope that this Bahamian model is the first for the region, and we're able to replicate this throughout.
Well, that's fair. That's encouraging to hear. Congratulations on that. All right. We're going to talk more about this, the next level, which is really what caught my eye and prompted me to reach out to you to come be a part of the show today. And that's what you guys have planned coming up, the robotics and AI. And I was like, whoa, these fellas ain't playing. We got to have a conversation. So let's take a break. And then on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about the future of agriculture as it relates to the technology that you're embracing and how that too can help us to offset this whole issue of food insecurity. Stay with us. This is GPS. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim, fence, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here, along with my guest today, Lincoln Deal from Eden Farms. We are talking about food security, should I say food insecurity and food sovereignty, which is a major issue being discussed at this year's Caricom Summit. The telephone numbers to call, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and 801-0271 for text messages only. We are streaming live on Facebook on the official Global 99.5 FM Facebook page, as well as the official Michelle Malcolm Facebook page. And you can go ahead and put a comment up there, and we will try to get to as many of those comments as possible. So Lincoln Deal and his team at Eden are doing some really innovative things. I'm starting with their introduction of freight farming here in the Bahamas, and now they're taking their business model to an even higher level. And I remember reading an article about what they're doing next, which really caught my attention, and I thought it would be great to talk to them about this next level of technology being incorporated with agriculture to see what the possibilities are there. So tell us about the next move of Eden Acres, Lincoln.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. So after 3 years of operating in the market, understanding its needs, understanding the demands, but also understanding the challenges of the agricultural sector, the Eden Farms team decided to find a way in which we can scale this containerized farming model. And so back in 2021, we partnered with a company called 80 Acres Farms, and they are based in Ohio, Cincinnati. They are also global leaders in large-scale warehouse indoor farming, and they have facilities throughout the United States. And in fact, they're expanding very rapidly as parts of the world realize that climate change is going to continue to become a major issue for food security. Agriculture itself is not good for climate change due to the amount of water, the amount of waste, and other things used in agriculture. And so these sustainable options are now becoming a reality, right? So the CEO of 80 Acres Farms has a theory. 10 years ago, this seemed like science fiction. Today, it's a reality, and 5-10 years from now, it's just going to be the way of life. Just growing using robotics and indoor growing technology. And so we're extremely humbled to be on that cutting edge and introducing that to the Caribbean region. And so over the past 2 years, we've been developing this model, developing this concept. We'll be creating and breaking ground in a few months on the 80,000 square foot robotics enabled facility that would be able to grow up to 2 million pounds of fresh produce here in the Bahamas. And we would be able to grow things that, again, don't traditionally grow in the Bahamas. And we'll be able to do it at scale. We don't really get a lot of the berries and some of the other specialty herbs that people like and require. We'll enhance our leafy green offering significantly. Definitely tapping more into large scale strawberry operations and blueberries, among other things.
What about produce that I guess are not as sexy as the strawberries and the blueberries, etc., but things like potatoes and carrots? And is there room for those kinds of products when you're looking at the model that you are now leaning towards, or is this strictly more about the greens, the specialty greens, and the specialty fruits, etc.?
So we've worked with a lot of farmers, and our position on that is this: Eden Farms is not the ultimate solution for agriculture in the Bahamas, and we don't paint ourselves in that way, right? Agriculture is so vast because you also have fisheries, you also have poultry farmers. There's so many different types of farmers. So our focus is definitely going to be more of the leafy greens, specialty herbs, fruits, some vegetables, etc. The larger, heavier vine crops, at this stage, it won't be a focus of ours, and so we always encourage farmers to continue in that vein with what works for them. But I do think in years to come, there will be similar facilities that will focus on even those heavier crops like the watermelons and the potatoes, etc.
Yeah. So, in other words, you guys aren't saying that you are the savior of the world as it relates to our agricultural needs in the Bahamas, but you're certainly able to fill a void.
Correct.
To be a part of the solution.
Correct. We try to not come across as the savior. We are using a lot of technology to scale agriculture, and so again, this is the beginning. There are some other areas that we're looking at, but again, we import $1 billion worth of fruits and vegetables every year. There's room for so many farmers, and our position is we encourage people to do your backyard farming, your community farming, and continue to buy local. I see Bamsey is doing some amazing things still in Andros. Their crops. You have Bluefields Farms, Lukai and Tropical, etc. And so we still support and promote the importance of traditional farming. However, to assist the agricultural industry in scaling to the point where we're becoming more self-dependent, that is where we kind of focus our efforts.
Now let's talk about community farming. I know there's a young man out there by the name of Gerard Darville. Unfortunately, he and his family are going through a very difficult time at this time, and with the loss of his wife, Kenny's. But what Gerard has done in his community for years, I thought was really commendable. They created in their community, they created a community farm where they grew fruits and vegetables mostly, and they would take the harvest and deliver it to the people in their community. I don't know if they're still doing it for free, but at the last time he and I talked about it, they were giving them the fresher options of healthy foods for free. And this was just his way of trying to encourage the people within his community to eat healthier. What are your thoughts on the direction that we as a nation have to go in to holistically look at how we can encourage our people to eat healthier, whether it be growing in their own backyard, whether it be creating community farms like Gerard did, or even coming together as a cooperative to try to establish their own community freight farm. What are your thoughts on how we can get or encourage more healthy eating amongst the populace using technology?
Yeah, so I've definitely had an opportunity to work with Gerard a few times. I think he's always done a phenomenal job, especially as it pertains to community. He truly has a passion for that specific area, and I think it's something that we need more of. We need people to understand the importance of healthy living, healthy eating. Unfortunately, the Bahamas ranks very high in the obesity and blood pressure areas. And again, that's due to our diets. It's due to some of the things we consume, a lot of the things that we import. And so, one, I think that education is important, right? So people need to understand the why this is important before you just say, hey, y'all go grow in your backyard and go eat that. You have to break down why is it so important for us to take food security seriously. At the height of the pandemic, there were times when I think the Bahamas only had 3 to 6 months worth of food, right? And so if our importers were to say that we're not going to ship anything to the Bahamas because we need to make sure that California is sorted out, that Mexico is sorted out, or wherever they're sending their products is sorted out, then the Bahamas is at a position of no power because we're so dependent. Secondly, when you look at some of our ailments, a lot of it is due to a lot of our diets. And then thirdly, I think it's important for us to take farming seriously because a lot of the things that we're buying from the food stores, you could actually grow in your backyard. That tomato or that head of lettuce that you're getting from the local market, you could pick that out of your yard, use that in your dinner and your lunch meals, and that saves you $10, $15, and $20. Last year, I remember at one point lettuce was almost $17. So the numbers are just outrageous. When you look at the price of eggs, it's gone up some 300%. These are things that we can actually do. And I think with education and then also putting in place measures where these programs are in place, similar to what Gerard was doing, and then other organizations, there's church and community backyard farms. I know some schools have been reaching out to us. And so you almost have to create the culture for people to understand how important and how beneficial eating healthy but growing your own food is.
Speaking of schools, I know that there are several schools throughout the country that are looking to teach their kids more about agriculture, and I think it's commendable. But one of them was in the news lately, and that is GHS because they have a system now whereby they have hens that are laying eggs, and as you just said, the price of it. Well, I just saw somebody send out a message on WhatsApp today saying that the price of eggs is back down to $4.99 a dozen. And praise the Lord. But we went through the period where we were seeing some prices, and it was like, whoa, serious?
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Personally, I only buy my eggs from local farmers.
Good.
Because they taste better for one. And it's a real egg, whereas that other stuff coming from chickens that have necessarily been
modified,
you ain't quite sure what you're getting.
Correct.
But at least with a local farmer, you know what you're getting. Jason, I'm going to need you to go to the controls, please, because I want you to play the video about the GHS agricultural program that has gone viral, where they are now supplying eggs And people, because they were so desperate, were, I mean, really happy to hear about this program. Let's now go to that clip about the GHS agricultural program.
With egg prices skyrocketing at the food store, Government High says they're fielding up to 50 calls a day inquiring about the school's agriculture program.
And once the boards are happy, they tend to produce well.
McNeil Paris has been a teacher at Government High for the past 25 years and the coordinator of their agricultural department since 2013. Last year, the department saw a new addition in their animal husbandry program.
We got some chickens from the Ministry of Agriculture. Our coop here was not completed, so we had to put the chickens in the classroom. And later on, the ministry came on board and they completed our chicken housing.
Now, in the midst of one of the largest bird flu outbreaks in U.S. history, egg prices are skyrocketing, and many residents have turned to the program at Government High to buy their eggs.
The response from the public is phenomenal, and we are trying to help everybody because we know the situation. So what I'm trying to do, I limit 2 cartons per person.
Paris says thanks to his and the students' tender care of their 60 chickens, almost all of them produce about an egg a day. Paris also works to teach the agricultural economics so they can understand the marketing aspects of agriculture. And the students are as equally enthusiastic about the program.
It's helping other people because I feel like our eggs are like the cheapest, because when I was in the food store, eggs was like almost $10.
Latara tells us she wasn't too sure about agriculture when she first joined the program.
I was like, it really ain't for me, but as I grew, and Mr. Paris is an amazing teacher.
All right, let's get Lincoln back into the stream. Lincoln, as you see that report, as you hear about the wonderful things that are happening at GHS, how excited are you about the future of getting more of our young people involved in agriculture? I need you to unmute your microphone.
Yeah. There you go. So I think that is a part of the key to the future. When you look at our farms today, for an example, our container farms are actually ran by women, right? Women who are in their late 20s, early 30s, and they have degrees in actual biology, sustainability, small island developing states. And the reason that's important was because traditionally they would have taken these degrees and either stay in the United States or Canada or somewhere else and find a career over there. But because we provided new opportunities, new job opportunities in agriculture, merging biology and technology and chemistry, they've found a new path. And so what we're trying to do as well is show young people the new job opportunities and career opportunities, rather, in agriculture. You started off the show very strategically in saying what people imagine agriculture to be. And you were right. So people think agriculture is acres of land in the hot sun, doing multiple, plowing the ground, watering the grass, etc., etc. But today, these young women work in an indoor environment with air conditioning, music, and it looks like a science lab. But I say that to say that it's changing, and what we need to do is steer more young people into the direction of agriculture, but not just the traditional way of looking at agriculture. But hey, let's look at the technology aspect of it. So if you're interested in artificial intelligence, there's a career for you. If you're interested in robotics and maybe using that biology background in agriculture, there's an opportunity for you as well. And so we're trying to start this from a young age. And we have been working with some schools, and we encourage other schools to jump on board, create a backyard or a school garden, and teach young people the importance of growing. The reason Eden Farms is called Eden Farms is because we realize that we need to go back to Eden. And in Genesis, it talks about the Garden of Eden and how it looked and how beautiful it was and how important it was for mankind. And that's something that we truly believe in.
Yeah, I'm glad you put it that way, because we can't allow the interest in agriculture to die to the point where we are completely reliant on food imports. It's just that's an unwise thing to do. And many of the older farmers have complained over the years that they couldn't get young people interested because that's all they saw it to be, working hard in the hot sun, digging up in soil. And as the young lady said in the clip, she didn't realize, you know, what let me put it this way, how sexy it could be to work in agriculture. So nowadays, with all of the technology, with all of the advanced way of thinking, this is really something that I think we need to push more within the schools to get more young people interested in this, because we cannot continue to rely on imports to sustain ourselves. Because if they, for any reason, shut down, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's a supply chain issue, or whether it's a government that decides, you know, I'm in control of this and I just don't feel like helping you right now, then we are in trouble. And so we're talking about not just a matter of food security, but national security, because you got to feed your people, you know?
Correct. And I actually penned an article in The Guardian about 2 weeks ago on that exact topic. I mean, food security is national security. And, you know, reality is one of our basic fundamental human needs is food, water, shelter. And without them, you know, you can't survive. You know, we don't want to get to the point where the Bahamas has the money to import, but even your money can't get you food. And so I don't want to get biblical. You know, my dad, Lincoln Dio Sr., is a pastor at Zion Baptist Church. But when you look at the story of Joseph, and you look at there were 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine.
Yes.
The reality is they needed to be strategic in their agricultural practices because there was some headwinds coming. And if they were not strategic, then their entire nation would perish.
Yeah.
And so it took agriculture and the processing and the storage of goods to keep them afloat during those dry periods. We can see now around the world with COVID and this Ukrainian war and possibly now another war on the rise, that the world is changing and is fluctuating. And beyond whatever is going on beyond our borders, we need to be in the right position as a country to feed our people, to make our own food, to eat our own food, to go in our backyard and to buy locally, because we don't know what's going to happen.
And then there's the issue of climate change and the impact that is having on the environment, which makes it even more important for us to find innovative ways to ensure that even if there is some kind of storm or something otherwise, we're still able to feed ourselves. It won't be a situation where, because we've heard story after story on many of the family islands where farms were pretty much wiped out after a storm because all of their animals died, all of their crops were destroyed. And so the model that you guys are looking at eliminates that problem, correct?
Correct. I mean, when you look at what happened during the Dorian, my father-in-law, he had a farm in Grand Bahama. For years, he worked on that farm and he got chickens and livestock. It took one day, one hurricane to wipe that all away.
Wow.
And between Dorian and now, he has not been able to recover. And so this is why mechanisms like Eden Farms and by extension now Eden Acres, which is a hurricane resilient farm that can still grow in a hurricane, still grow regardless of the climate, is why we're pivoting in that particular direction. And we're trying to also bring other farmers along to assist them and also guide them in the new way of technology.
Good stuff. Okay, so I have a question for you that's coming in from one of our WhatsApp person communicating on WhatsApp, and it says, can you ask Mr. Deal if they do internships?
Yes, we do. In fact, we've had we've had so many internships over the past 2 years, in particular, a lot of students that had an interest. We did a stint with persons from the University of the Bahamas, some high school kids. We even did some field trips. And so, yes, we do internships. If someone is interested, they can send in their details to our address, and then we'll get back to them.
All right, sounds like a plan. We're going a little bit because I want to talk about the difference between food security and food sovereignty. You guys are doing a phenomenal job at helping to fill a void, but as you said yourself, that's just a piece of the puzzle. So what do we need to do as a nation and as a region to try to complete the whole picture as it relates to food security sovereignty?
Right.
You guys can alone. What else is needed from a national standpoint and a regional standpoint to put us in a better position to be self-sustaining? We're going to talk about that on the other side of the break. Stay with us. This is GPS, and we'll be back after these messages.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blasted love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. We are streaming live on Facebook. on the official Global 99.5 FM page, as well as the official Michelle Malcolm page. And you can check us out by calling in 3260271, 3260271, or 3260272, 3260272. You can also WhatsApp us at 8010271, 8010271, or you can check us out on cable Bahamas channel 974, and of course on YouTube. My guest today is Lincoln Deal from Eden Farms, and now soon to be Eden Acres. And he and his partners have come up with very innovative ways to grow produce so that from farm to fork, you get a much fresher, higher quality product at a competitive or even cheaper rate than what is now being brought in through the food stores. You know, this topic I thought was important to discuss because it is one of the major topics that's being discussed at this Caricom summit. And a press conference was held today at which the Assistant Director General and Regional Representative for the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, Mario Lubetkin, spoke on food security. Jason, I need you to play that clip.
Very tangible, and I leave this country with a clear idea about which type of work and roadmap we can work for the next period, especially very close now with the government of Bahamas in his position in Caricom, because in very few time, practically in 1 year, our next regional conference will be in a Caribbean country, will be in Guyana. So all these elements will go exactly in that way to guarantee food security for the region, for the Caribbean, and for Latin America. Thank you very much.
Also in attendance at that meeting was our very own Agriculture Minister Clay Sweeting at that press conference, I should say, was also in attendance. And we're going to, I'm sure, hear more about what was discussed at the Caricom level, as well as the contents of that press conference a little later on. Our Shelley Lewis is at the convention center covering the Caricom meeting, and so I'm sure that she will have more to tell us about what was discussed a little later on, whether in this show or a show to come. My guest today is Lincoln Deal. As I would have said, representing a group of very forward-thinking young people who have decided to get into the agricultural sector, but not from the traditional way, but from the way, from the approach of using technology to try to help to fill some of the gaps that we're experiencing in our country. And as we're hearing on the show today, by extension, the region, about how we can, meet the demands of our country as it relates to food security. Now, there's a difference between food security and food sovereignty. And if we look at Israel as an example, I mean, Israel is known for being a country that has embraced technology to try to fulfill its needs. I believe that theirs is one of the best systems in the world.
Yep.
And they are known for being big in farm tech and agritech.
Yep.
Yes, agriculture. Very, very big, going to spend billions of dollars, and yet they have not been able to get to the point where they are totally self-sustaining. Mm-hmm. So if we look at them as an example, how far away realistically are we from even coming close to being able to sustain ourselves, or at least if not completely sustain ourselves, significantly reduce the reliance on external factors and forces, so that we can survive in the event of an unfortunate occurrence?
Yeah, that's a great question, Michelle. In fact, my team and I have studied Israel's model extensively over the years, and so we're very familiar with what they did. However, when you look at the amount of time that it took for them to get to that position, it has taken years. The best time to start is now. The reality is successive governments have talked about, agriculture and food security, but I think now more than ever before is a time for us to really take it to another level and try to accelerate this as much as possible. The Caricom event that's happening right now is extremely timely. In particular, the fact that the agenda item, or one of the major agenda items, rather, is food security. And one of the things that we need is greater investment in the agricultural sector. We need greater investment into ag tech, and we need greater investment into the educational side of it. So Israel has a lot of resources on developing their agricultural industry. They've been extremely intentional about it. It's not just a line item every year in the national budget, but there's a consistent focus on national food security in Israel. And I think we need to continue to develop that mindset. Um, linkages with global banks and things of that nature is also vitally important. Earlier today, we met with some of the persons that came down from Caricom that wants to help the region build upon their food security efforts. I think that's important. The reality is the Bahamas is just in such a peculiar place, that being a hurricane belt. Um, the amount of investment that it takes to develop our soil is also a challenge, but I think that we can move past it if we really engage, agricultural technologists and let them drive this agricultural industry. It's not going to just be the government. We need private sector investment, and we need the private sector to kind of lead this charge alongside the government to make this happen. So the short answer is it's going to take some time, but this is a good start, and hopefully it begins the conversation. Hopefully it inspires a new generation of persons to now look at farming and agriculture. And then three, hopefully what comes out of this is new careers, because we're going to need our people to continue to take this forward.
How much of the success of this vision, this dream, how much of that is dependent on a plan? I mean, it's. Let me put it this way: we often talk about we want to diversify our economy because we're so heavily reliant on tourism, and we need to diversify our economy. But many people argue that unless you have a national plan that specifies where you want to go down the road, then it is difficult for you to identify today what the needs will be as to how you train your young people, the direction that you steer them in, based on where you see your nation going. I have to question whether or not we have a plan in place so that we will know this is the area that we need to develop from an agricultural standpoint based on the overall plan for going forward. And I'm not just putting this at the feet of the Bahamas, I'm talking regionally as well. What are your thoughts on that?
Again, that very timely, just last evening, in fact. Well, let me just pull it back. I think a plan is one thing, but following that plan beyond administrations, beyond whatever comes forward is equally as important. So a couple of years ago, we drafted the National Development Plan. But when you look at what has transpired between the completion of that plan to now, how much of that has been followed? What are the practical steps that have been put in place to ensure that we meet some of these milestones? And so we need to be a bit more intentional about when creating these plans, ensure that we're bringing the best to the table, right? So if you look at the Singapore model, what they do is they put the best people in a specific area in one room to address the issues, craft policy, craft plans, and then put it in motion. I think we need to not just move from plan, but we need to put these plans in motion with achievable milestones and achievable steps that are realistic for the Bahamas, and like you said, in particular, the region. And so I'm hoping that coming from these Caricom bodies, some of the policy documents that they've signed, I think it really kicked off at COP in Egypt back in November. There were some very important agreements that were signed, namely the agreement that speaks to funding being in place for the Caribbean to um, 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 continue to develop even after natural disasters. But I think we need to advocate for more of that as it pertains to agricultural investments. And so putting the plan in place is one thing, but we also need to follow those plans intentionally to move the country forward.
I agree 100%. And for my regular viewers, I'm obviously coming from home today. And if you hear some background noise, my neighborhood tends to get a bit noisy sometimes. Like right now, I don't know why that person decided at this moment to start blowing their horn outside. So please forgive me if you hear a lot of background noise. That's what's happening. I'm not actually in studio today, coming from home today. But I'm talking to Lincoln Deal, one of the principals of an innovative company of young people who are behind Eden Farms and Eden Acres. And they're finding ways to incorporate technology with agriculture to try to help fill the void of making fresh produce more easily available within the Bahamas at affordable or at least competitive rates. The telephone numbers to call if you have a question: 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, or the WhatsApp line for text messages is 801-0271, 801-0271. This is a great opportunity to get into the minds of one of the forward-thinking young entrepreneurs that we have over there. Lincoln, I remember when I was at the Ministry of Tourism, you were a young whippersnapper. I know I sound like old people, right? But you at that while I was there, you won. Was it the Junior Minister of Tourism Award?
Yes.
So yeah, I remember you from back then, and I'm thinking even back then, this young man is going to go places because you were quite impressive in your presentation, and you have ventured into business opportunities as it relates to the tourism product.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see agriculture? Do you see this as just another extension of providing a product that is necessary for our tourism industry? Or did you come into this and understanding once you got into it that this is so much bigger than that? How does this compare to your other business ventures that were tourism related?
Definitely. So those years back at tourism were very educational. I learned a lot about the tourism industry while serving as Junior Minister of Tourism. It was definitely a transformational time. And since then, I've developed a few ventures in the tourism sector because tourism is still our number one industry. But in that research project back in 2013, I think it also sparked a new passion about national development when we started Eden Farms. And the research project was just more so a fact-finding, problem-solving mission. Why aren't we growing more food? Why are we importing so much? At that time, I think it was about $800 million that we were importing even back then. And so, to see where it is now, it's unbelievable. Even looking at where Eden was in 2020 compared to where it is now, this vision is even bigger than me. This is for the nations. This is for the region. I think my team and I are passionate about it because it impacts every fabric of our society. It impacts my kids. It impacts my family, my community. It impacts us all. And so from a social responsibility aspect about it, outside of the profitability aspect about it, it is critically important. Um, as it pertains to the tourism industry, every day our population grows by an additional, let's say, 30,000 people, right? And what that means is that there are 30,000 additional mouths outside of the 400,000 people that live in the Bahamas that are coming here. And so over the course of the past 2 years, we have sat with some of the cruise ship operators, and we have seen what their needs are. But it's so much to bite off, no pun intended, because there's so much opportunity. And that's why I said earlier in the show, Eden Farms is one company, but there's so much opportunity. I mean, the agricultural industry is just open field again, bursting with opportunity, not just to service the local market, but to service the amount of tourists that are coming into our country every single given day. They too have to eat.
You're absolutely right. How open are you guys to working with others who are interested in establishing models similar to yours? And let me tell you why I asked that. Some years ago, I did an interview with the then proprietor of Goodfellow Farms.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think I interviewed him for the show that I was hosting at the time, Tourism Today. And we went and we visited his farm. He at the time was focusing on microgreens, and he was growing specifically for the hotel market. And he was like, I'm doing really well. I just from a couple of acres, because it wasn't a big farm. He was making a lot of money, just from a couple of acres. And he's like, listen, I'm looking for people to train how to do this because I can't do this all by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually opened the door to anyone who wanted to learn to do what he was doing so that this need could be met. How open are you guys to working with others who may be interested in establishing something similar to what you are doing?
We're extremely open. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, the agricultural industry is untapped. I mean, it's bursting with opportunity. He's right. When we get our product list from the hotels, I mean, one hotel alone not one hotel, a couple of restaurants alone took one of our containers, just exclusive. Like if we were to completely grow everything to our capacity and just service that hotel or that particular restaurant or group of restaurants, it would be booked out. And I say that to say that's just one niche of the market. There's the yacht industry, there's the cruise ship industry. I mean, when we start with the cruise ship industry in particular, their list alone would book us out, meaning we wouldn't be able to supply the entire local market. And so we are very open to working along with other farmers, other persons that may be interested, other persons that just want more information. We're definitely open. In fact, most recently we've partnered with the government with our containers, and there will be some movement throughout the Family Islands just to take this opportunity, beyond Nassau and into 2 or 3 of the Family Islands in particular. You can look out for that announcement within the next month to 2 months. And so we're looking for people that have a passion and interest.
All right, good stuff. Okay, we're gonna play one more clip before we take another break. And this is from a local chicken farmer talking about the challenges that he has had trying to keep up. Back in the day, there were some really vibrant chicken farms that existed in the Gladstone Road area in particular. And I'm not sure what happened, why they did not. I'm really not sure why they did not continue. If there was some kind of problem with their hands, I don't know what happened. But those farms died for whatever reason. And now we see where there are a few here and there. Like I say, I only buy my eggs and chickens from local farmers, but it's not nearly at the scale that it was back then. We have seen it at a bigger scale. So in this particular clip, this young man from Berkshire Farms is talking about the challenges that he has had to face trying to keep up his farm and keep it going.
Started out with the free range, as close to organic eggs as you can get. So as the demand started to grow, we began constructing this hen house that's right behind me. So that's a 1,200 square foot hen house, with the goal to get it to capacity, max capacity, with about 1,200 chickens.
With that goal in mind, Roberts traveled to Florida, bringing back with him some 2,000 baby chicks. But unfortunately, he says there was a small tragedy once they made it to the farm.
When you get these birds, they're day-old chicks. So they just hatched Monday. We had them here Tuesday afternoon. So I'm thinking, okay, we're all good, we're fine. And that weekend was almost a nightmare. We lost quite a few of them, but still over 1,000. So still over 1,000.
At the time, only 1,200 chicks were at Berkshire, while the remaining 500 were at another local farm. The chicks are expected to reach the age of maturation between 18 and 24 weeks. And Robert says the goal is to eventually produce 1,000 eggs per day.
You have other farmers calling like, hey, you got any more eggs? Because we're already sold out, just trying to meet the needs. And then, of course, once the consumers start tasting them, it's like, this is much different. And even if you can visit the farm, you see the way the animals are raised, you feel more comfortable with what you're eating. There's always a need for eggs. And it becomes even more of a commodity or a hot commodity when it's a fresh, free-range product.
He explains why free-range chickens produce higher quality eggs.
With that, they're able to get access to all of the greens that are on the earth, the soil, they get iron, whatever other minerals, and especially, if they get the worm first, as the early bird would get the worm, they're down there digging in the soil, getting access to what Mother Nature has to offer.
While local residents can purchase eggs from the farm, Robert says the main focus is to supply local restaurants and hotels.
We want to encourage the backyard farmers to get into raising birds in their yard. And we know in the Freeport general area, you're not allowed to have birds or farm animals in your yard. But I think with the education and information that we can assist the community with bringing forth, that you don't need a rooster, which is the noisy one, to be in your backyard, but you can use a few hens at a limited amount with certain parameters in place. I think it'll be really good to have some backyard farmers and assist with the cost of the eggs in the stores right now.
I know of persons here in Nassau who have their own chickens, their own hens, and they get their fresh eggs every morning right from within their own yard. And he's right. The taste is so much better. You almost, if you're used to buying eggs out of the food store that are imported, when you taste the egg that comes from the local hen, listen, it's like, oh my God, I forgot how good eggs are supposed to taste. Yep. Because it tastes so much better. The quality is so much better. I will never go back to getting that stuff that's imported, because unless, like, we had a shortage, a couple of weeks ago. I ended up having to go to the food store to buy my eggs because the local farmer that I got my eggs from was sold out. And I went and I paid almost double the price, organic, and it still didn't taste the same. No. So you're talking about a definite step up in the quality of the produce, the quality of the locally grown chicken or the locally hatched eggs. And I think it's a matter of educating the public, because a girlfriend of mine told me that when her husband found out that some eggs she had bought were from a local farmer, her husband was like, Why I don't want to eat that, buy my eggs at the food store. And I'm saying,
Wow.
that's a lack of knowledge right there. Because if he knew what he was getting at the food store, he would run to get the locally produced eggs. But again, it's this mindset. So I say all that to say, education, education, education. We need to educate our people, not just about the opportunities that exist in agriculture, not just about this new direction that they can go in. Like you said, if you have an interest in technology, there's room for you. But education about the quality of what you are eating and why it is important to support the locally grown produce or the locally hatched eggs, etc. What are your thoughts on that?
Indeed, no, that's a very valid point. And I touched on it briefly at the earlier in the show, but most of our produce come from California or different parts of the United States, and a lot of it is shipped for transport, but not for how it tastes. So it's shipped for durability, then, just to make that mileage. So when you see those red tomatoes in the food store and you look at it and be like, oh, this is a nice looking red tomato. Well, that was actually picked before it was ripe, because they picked it to survive the transportation between, let's say, California to the Bahamas. And I say all that to say that a lot of the nutritional value and the taste and the quality of it diminishes. It's not the same thing as picking it from your backyard, where, as soon as you see it ripe on the tree, you could pick it, you cut it up, and you eat it for dinner. And so education is a critical component to, one, understanding food security, two, understanding what it means for you as the consumer, and three, what it means for our country and for local farmers. And so we're big on farmers market. We're big on the promotion of buying Bahamian and trying to collaborate with other local farmers to sell their produce through the produce exchange and other mediums that are coming on stream now, because it is very important. Like you said, you could taste the difference. And it's the same thing that we've heard, either speaking to hotels or speaking to some of the best chefs in Nassau. They say the same thing. We can taste the difference. And so that's the next added benefit of buying local and buying Bahamian.
Yeah, if I could help it, I'm not going back to that stuff. I'm sorry, but we do need to see, though, where there's a system put in place where our food stores buy more Bahamian. And I know the argument has been, well, they haven't been able to consistently provide product.
Correct.
Now you have come up with the system that answers that problem.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about that, but we gotta take one more.
Okay, I was just about to jump on that.
Yeah, let's take a break, and then when we come back, where's this impasse coming from? What's really going on here? And how do we get over it to ensure that we are able to get more locally grown produce, more locally grown chicken, more locally grown eggs, and that excuse is eliminated about, well, I can't get it consistently. Let's talk about that on the other side of this break. Stay with us. This is GPS.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy, with mailboat to U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here. If you haven't already done so, like and share the show. We are streaming live on Facebook on the official Global 99.5 FM Facebook page and my official Facebook page. And the telephone numbers to call: 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line is 8010271, and you can actually send us a text message via WhatsApp, and we will try to get to as many of them as we can. You can also check us out on Cable Bahamas channel 974. And of course, you can leave us a comment on our Facebook pages, and we will get as many of them as we can to the screen. So I have a couple of WhatsApp messages, but before we go there, let's talk about this whole thing, Lincoln. My guest, by the way, if you're tuning in late, is Lincoln Deal from Eden Farms. And we're talking about utilizing technology, thinking outside the box, embracing the future as it relates to agriculture and food security and food sovereignty, which is a major topic, by the way, that's being discussed at this Caricom summit now underway here in the Bahamas. So, Lincoln, one of the excuses that we often hear thrown out by some in the food store business is that Well, one of the reasons why we import so much is because we can't rely on our local farmers to provide us with consistent product or at a consistent standard. How do you respond to that?
Right. So in our, startup phase, when we got into the market, we heard the same, right? So the question was posed to us: can you deliver X amount on a consistent basis all year round? Now, fortunately, because of the technology that we use, there is a level of predictability. So if you say that you need um, 10,000 heads of lettuce in a week, we can kind of predict that out. Unfortunately, for some farmers, um, a lot of their crops are seasonal because they're dependent on climate, among other factors. So it does give them at times a disadvantage. However, I do think that food stores can still find mediums and ways to engage the local farmers. I know that one food store in particular tries to carve out a specific section for some produce, but we need more of that because, unfortunately, Michelle, a lot of the produce that a lot of these farmers do have, it goes to waste. So wastage is another issue that we have to solve as a country because um, uh, some farmers are planting, but by the time it reaches Nassau or by the time they get it to market, it's no more good. And so we need more buy-in from some of the local food stores. But consistency and quality is something that they continue to look for. In particular, the hotels as well.
Yeah.
A lot of farmers have been trying to get into hotels, and they would close the door on farmers because they're saying that regardless if you bring me a box of tomatoes or not, I need to be able to give my guests a salad, and whether that comes from Cisco or whether that comes from a farmer in Andres, their bottom line is making sure that they get that salad to the table.
Right. Okay, let me read a couple of the comments that have been sent in on our WhatsApp line. This one says, please ask the guests if the produce is organic or free from a diverse use of growth enhancements, any type of growth aids.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Short answer is yes. We don't use any growth aids. We don't use any additives, no pesticides, no herbicides, any of that. Nothing.
And one of the reasons that you can do that is because of the controlled environment, correct?
Correct. So everything in the environment is controlled. We control the temperature. We control the lighting schedule. We control the amount of nutrients that the plant gets. We control the carbon dioxide. Like everything is completely controlled. In fact, we can control the farm from our smartphone. And so if we're basically giving the plant everything that it needs to thrive, not just survive, but thrive in the perfect environment. And so it gets the exact amount of water that it needs, the exact amount of nutrients that it needs, the exact amount of carbon dioxide, lighting. We have lighting scheduled. So if you look in, I know you said you did a little research on freight farms. Those lights have schedules. And so between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m., certain lights are on to give it that full spectrum that it needs to grow. And so there's a lot of science involved, but that level of technology gives us the precision needed to make that plant and make those crops grow.
And this is why you're able to say to a restaurant or a food store, I can guarantee you this amount per year, because you have that controlled environment, so you're able to predict what you can grow and at the capacity that you can provide. Yeah.
Correct. And so when we sat with some of the hotels, we looked at their demands, and we can basically map out throughout an entire year. We're able to hit these targets for you. And so that's the benefit of using technology. It gives you that predictability that they desire and most times require.
All right. We have another comment coming in from another WhatsApp text. It says, I started buying eggs from a locally grown farm, but was reliably informed that some of the eggs were allegedly sourced from one of the local food stores and repackaged. So while I thought I was getting locally grown organic eggs, I was not. Well, I don't know which farmer you were dealing with, Texter, but I will tell you, you can tell the difference in taste. The minute you taste a real egg from a real chicken allowed to grow as God intended it to grow, not pumped up with a bunch of antibiotics and growth hormones, etc., you can taste the difference.
Yeah.
It's like night and day. So even if you've had that experience, you should be able to tell right away, okay, this perhaps is not an egg that was sourced locally, because you can taste the difference. You really, really can. It's like night and day.
Indeed.
And there are others out there who are providing that service. So again, if you're not happy with one source, then find another, because there are others out there. Will we get to the point where we see the size of the farms that existed back in the day? I don't know. I hope that we do get to that point, because I know that the few farmers that are doing this right now, they can't meet all of the demand.
No.
And so there's definitely room for more. And I want to encourage anyone who's listening to this show who may have some kind of interest, or, is trying to help the young person in your house to make some decisions. And you may notice that they like gardening, or they like to plant stuff, whatever. Maybe you should nudge them in this direction and help them to understand that this is so much bigger than what people used to think farming was all about. This is really the future existing now, based on the technology that is being used. When I saw the article about the Eden Acres and the AI and the robotics that will be used, I was like, whoa, this right here is next level. Now, how do you protect against artificial intelligence completely eliminating the need for the human factor?
Great question. So our Gladstone Road facility will have about 50 plus staff members. AI and robotics aren't meant to replace staff, but they're meant to enhance the overall production and the overall experience. And so that is our intention for that aspect of it.
Okay, good to know. All right. Let me just pull this up here. Okay. What in your mind is the future of agriculture? Where do you see, let's say that you were able to convince the government and the leaders of the region to embrace this new approach to incorporating technology with agriculture. Where do you envision this going 10, 20 years down the line? What are the possibilities that you see?
Great question. So I believe that COVID-19, in the midst of crisis, you start to see people really digging into their innovative, creative element. I believe that this is the beginning of the true development, or redevelopment rather, of agriculture, not just in the Bahamas, but the region, and to be honest, the world. Most national agendas have food security now on their priority list, because by 2050, the world's population is going to significantly grow. And we need to grow significantly more food using significantly less waste, less land, and less resources. So in essence, we have to use less. Because of that, we need to be more strategic in how we use what we have. And so this is where the emergence of technology comes into play. And so what I envision, and what I think that, where I think rather that agriculture is going to go, is multiple systems like this throughout the Caribbean. And that's when I say systems, I'm speaking about mass indoor production systems. And the reason we're going in that direction is because our natural environment makes it difficult for us to flourish and grow. And so we're going to see the emergence of more indoor facilities. I think that there will be more technology used. You will see robotics in some facilities. It's going to look like a manufacturing facility, the manufacturing of food. And this is important, again, because of limitations to space and limitations to water and climate. Let me just put something into perspective. The 80,000 square foot facility is going to sit on about three of our acres, but it equates to 80 acres. So that 80 acres is now only taking up 3 acres, which means that we're using less land. I believe that you're going to see more community gardens. You're going to see more buildings with farms on the top of them. You're going to see growing instruments within buildings. And so you would walk into a corporate office, and in the middle of that office, you're going to see a farm, a vertical farm, where you walk out of your boardroom and you pick your produce. I think we need to be more creative in how we view it. I believe that more and more young people are going to look at agriculture like they've never looked at it before, because now it's becoming a bit more, for lack of a better word, sexy again and more interesting. And I believe that the Bahamas can be a leader in this region, in this hemisphere, with being able to grow our own food if we now, from today on, take this charge serious. And take it serious through policy in government, through investments locally, but also connecting with international investors, and becoming more self-sufficient to the point where we're exporting our produce to other Caribbean islands, and we're inter-island trading happening. And so I think there's a lot to happen in this industry. I think that we're really on it's just the beginning. I'm excited. My partners are excited. The other farmers that we've been working with is excited. And I think it's a good time for the Bahamas once we continue on this trajectory.
I see where I'm just seeing now where you sent me the link to your video for your new facility. I'm trying to download it so that we can get it on the show. So tell you what, let's take this last commercial break, and I'm going to try my best to see if we can get it, if I can get it downloaded so that I can upload to StreamYard, and we can go ahead and show my audience what we're talking about here. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Blood sugar levels play a key role in your appetite, weight gain, and overall health. When you have a blood sugar spike, you can feel confused, dizzy, and even have increased cravings. Eating carbohydrates, sugary or fatty foods, and not exercising can all cause blood sugar spikes. But now you have help in managing blood sugar levels. Sweeties by Longevity was designed to help support healthy blood sugar levels so you can power through your day. It's a synergistic blend of minerals, herbs, and nutrients that have been proven to support healthy blood sugar levels. Sweeties includes chromium, an essential trace mineral that's known for its contribution to healthy blood sugar levels and improved metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Cinnamon bark has been included for its naturally occurring antioxidants and support of a healthy heart. And we've even added gymnema. It's been used in Ayurveda for centuries to help promote healthy blood sugar. All the ingredients in Sweeties work together to give the best support available for blood sugar control. Sweeties, the blood sugar support supplement from Longevity that helps control cravings and manage blood sugar levels through your day. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim, fence, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, rough racing, velocity, mud, all-terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
As you age, factors like health, weight, diet, and lifestyle can all impact your bones, joints, and general mobility. Even everyday exercise can lead to wear and tear on your body. Over time, you might start to experience stiffness or pain due to damaged joints or connective tissue. Ultimate Glucogel by Youngevity was created to help you limit the effects of wear on your joints. It delivers a daily dose of collagen-rich gelatin your body needs for joint elasticity and maintenance. Ultimate Glucogel contains a 1-to-1 ratio of gelatin and glucosamine sulfate, which is a key building block of your bone matrix, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Gelatin's unique blend of amino acids not only help with muscle and joint health, but also has been shown to provide additional benefits for the brain, skin, and hair. Ultimate Glucogel. Natural, optimal daily support for joint health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
All right, welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift at Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here. My guest today is Lincoln Deal from Eden Farms and Eden Acres. I'm finally getting the video to download Eden, so from Lincoln. So while this is downloading, I have to download it first to my phone and then upload it to StreamYard. So this is going to take a minute. So in the meantime, let's see what our comments are looking like. These are people who are asking if you would be interested in going into politics. So let me let you tackle that while I try to get this thing down, upload it to StreamYard.
Well, right now my primary focus is my family business, and we'll see.
We can hardly hear you, Lincoln.
Oh, can you hear me now?
That's a little better, yeah.
Okay. No, the question was if I'm going into politics.
If you have any interest in going into politics.
My interest right now is national development, and trying to solve some of these long-standing problems. And if I can do that from the outside, I will continue to do that. And if there's a call to do it at that level, then we'll see where it goes. I'll obviously need to have conversations with my family and see if they will allow me to. But for right now, the focus is my wife, my kids, and just working with these companies.
So while I'm trying to upload this, what's next for you guys?
Yep. So we are really excited about this new move. We've been working again with our joint venture partners, 80 Acres, for about 2 years now. And so as we roll out the farms, starting in Nassau on Gladstone Road, and then expanding to other jurisdictions, we're extremely excited. We've been having conversations with presidents at the Caricom level. And so even at the Caricom level, a lot of them see this as a model, not just for the Bahamas, but for the larger Caribbean. And so we've been having some exciting conversations, even over the past 48 hours, as it pertains to this specific project. I just want to make mention and shout out to my partners. So I'm on the call today, but Eden Farms is comprised of myself, Lincoln Deal, Carlos Palacios is the co-founder, Scott Blackwire, co-founder, Mark Daniels, Gilbert Kassar, Raymond Zelstra, and Tashay Cooper, and a host of these are just Bahamians who have come together to make this major task, which this food security task that we talked about, a reality, and trying to accelerate this industry, because again, we're so far behind, but there's still an opportunity to move forward. And so we're excited about the Gladstone Road facility that's coming on stream. We want to thank the government for its support, and we're looking forward to tapping into the region.
What advice would you give to young people listening to the show who are on the, on the fence as to what direction they want to go in with their careers? How would you advise them based on your experience thus far?
Yeah, well, I've taken a lot of the entrepreneurial routes, and so for persons that may have an interest in business, or maybe it's just solving a problem. There may be something in your environment that just irritates you, right? So if it's the long lines in Nassau, right, try to find a solution for how we can adjust our transportation in the Bahamas. You may have an irritation about the lack of good education in the Bahamas. Well, maybe you can use that as an opportunity to develop an idea or concept to solve that area of our country. And so, for those looking at business, business starts from solving a problem, right? You're looking at a market and seeing, how can I change that? How can I have an impact on this particular area? And so I think that's where it is. One, don't be afraid of failure. Two, it's not easy, but if you're passionate about what you're doing or what you're pursuing, that it will eventually come to you with determination. And three, just think out of the box, right? You don't just have to think local, but you could think global. And I love the name of this show, Global Paradigm Shift, because the world is such a big place, and we have to we have to adjust our mindsets to think even beyond Nassau, the Bahamas, and even the region. The world is out there, and the world is yours. Just go get it. I think you muted. Michelle?
Oh, I'm seeing I'm muted. Okay. Jason, can you go to that final clip, please? I'm going to treat those comments from Lincoln as the final comments from him. Thank you so much for being here, Lincoln. And Jason, I'm going to need you to go ahead and play that final clip that I just uploaded, please.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Eden Farms began its revolutionary approach to hydroponic farming using containerized farms at the Braun Business Center in 2021. For over a year, Eden Farms has supplied fresh greens to some of the Bahamas' leading food retailers and hotels. While making great strides in the industry, the food supply is still under pressure. In response, delegates from the Bahamas joined the owners of Eden Farms in Hamilton, Ohio, to tour the world-class flagship 70K farm owned by 80 Acre Farms. This top-class, revolutionary commercial indoor hydroponic farm serves as a model for the privately funded $60 million Eden Acres farm coming to Nassau in 2023. Eden Acres has a vision enshrined in its motto, "It's better and grown fresher in the Bahamas."
The experience today was amazing. Having the Prime Minister come down here to Ohio to witness some of the amazing technology that is evolving in the agricultural sector is disruptive, and it is definitely the way of the future.
It's one thing to see something on a screen. It's another to walk through the facility.
Just looking at the amount of robotics, looking at the amount of data collection being used in the agricultural industry, I think is very impactful.
It is remarkable that 70,000 square feet can produce over 300 times more food than an ordinary farm with 100% renewable energy and 97% less water.
This can seem unreal until you actually see it. And what is coming to the Bahamas is truly marvelous, and what the Bahamian people truly deserve. It was incredible to see the support from both the private and the public sector, and this is a reality now.
So I hope that this technology that we're seeing here today is adopted worldwide.
On average, food travels over 2,000 miles in North America. We believe that food should be grown where people live.
In 2019, the Bahamas food import bill was pegged at $1 billion. So as a small country, we must recognize that this is unsustainable. Therefore, we must take the path that drives food security to where we can feed ourselves.
There's a reason we're so passionate about going to Bahamas first. There is a need, but it is also the team, the Eden Farms team, which is incredible.
This partnership is ideally placed to support us in this national effort to ensure fresh, affordable, healthy food for our people.
And it is time that there is a paradigm shift in our pursuit of food security.
Eden Acres, I like to think, is the tip of the spear.
The Bahamas is seeking to revolutionize the agricultural sector where our people will not only want to farm, but will see it as a means to keep our economy thriving.
But we really believe we found the most incredible team that complements what we can bring to the party, and together we believe we can really change the way the world eats.
You know, Eden Farms was actually started in 2013, and just looking at the amount of years that it took to get to this phase, looking at, you know, some of the challenges that we've overcome, looking at the fact that, you know, we started with the containerized farming model, we've seen so many local demand. And so the future of Eden Farms, and by extension now Eden Acres, gives us an opportunity to expand that footprint.
And it is an honor to be able to bring what we consider to be sunshine to the next stage of not just the Bahamas, but also small island developing states around the world.
As our population grows and as the world continues to change, we need to be in a position to feed ourselves. The future looks bright.
Grown fresher in the Bahamas.
That's our show. Thank you so much, Lincoln, for being here. I'll see you guys tomorrow for a TGIF Open Line show. Until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Take care, everybody, and have a good afternoon.
Reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.